Complex numbers are always represented in this form: a plus b j. That a is called as a real part and b is called as a imaginary part, right? And yesterday I told you, whenever you assign any complex number to a variable, object of class complex is created, isn't it? Like if I write x is equal to 4 plus 5j, so implicitly an object of class complex is created, and inside that complex class object there will be two data members. One will be real and one will be imaginary. And in real, that 4 will get stored, imaginary, that 5 will get stored, and then that object's reference will come in x. Get it? So now if you print and see x, it will display that complex number in round bracket. If you are checking its type, it will display its class, that is, it is object of class complex, right? And if you want to access that real part and imaginary part, you can x dot real. If I write, you'll get the real part. X dot imaginary you write, you'll get the imaginary part. Getting? That is 4 and 5. And the speciality of Python is that you can perform all the arithmetic operations on these complex numbers, except few are not allowed. Like some operations are there which are not allowed. I'll tell you about that when I'll come to operators. But you can perform arithmetic operations on complex numbers, like as if you are doing it on integers and float. Same way you can do it on complex also. Like I'm creating one more complex number, suppose 5 minus 2j, and I'm just writing x plus y. So it will add these two complex numbers and return you a new complex number, a new object, and that new object is again a complex object, and that is returned, in which the real and the real is added, the imaginary and the imaginary is added. So 4 plus 5 is 9 and 5 minus 2 is 3. Clear? But when you are doing this addition, for you they have given that facility. Ease is for you people. You can directly add two complex number. But implicitly here a magic method is called, which I told yesterday. Okay, and who invokes that magic method? X. So x dot double underscore add double underscore and y. Right? So it gives a call to one magic method, this dunder method. Y is passed as a parameter object and x is the invoker. X is the invoker and y is the parameter. And inside it will create a new complex object in which there will be real, real, imaginary, imaginary. Return that new object and that is printed. The same thing you get. Okay, so implicitly this is happening. For us, this is the ease. But not only for addition, you can do subtraction, multiplication, division, everything is possible. Okay, whenever you are multiplying two complex number, how do we get the answer? A plus b into c plus dj it is. So what is the new real and what is the new imaginary? Okay, so always remember the new real is real minus imaginary. That is AC minus BD. This is the new real. And new imaginary is cross. You have to do cross multiply. AD, BC addition. So A into D plus B into C. It will give you the new imaginary and new real. Okay? So you should remember all that. That is all basics of mathematics. Somewhere in your academics you have studied. Okay? So this data type represents complex values. Right? And complex values comprise of the real part and the imaginary part. Right? Every complex number is having a real part and an imaginary part. Example I have given, see, c equal to 5 plus 6j. So 5 is the real part and 6 is the imaginary part. If you check its type, it will tell that it's an object of class complex. See, class complex. With this, I hope it is now making it more perfect in your brain that nothing you'll get without an object. And if it's an object, it belongs to a class. That is the rule. Okay? See, so you can also uh, perform certain operations like additions and subtractions also. That is also allowed. Okay, so C equal to 5 plus 6j, D equal to 6 plus 5j, and I'm writing C plus D, and a new complex number 11 plus 11j you will get, right? Suppose you are writing D minus E. So this is D and E is this result. So 6 minus 11, 5, and 5 minus 11, 6. So 5 minus 6j you will get in E. Getting or no? Clear? That is 6, but minus sign because 6 minus 11. So 6 minus 11 is minus 5 and 5 minus 11 is minus 6. Even multiplication is possible. I gave you the rule of multiplication just now. When we multiply two complex number, so what is your real part? Real minus imaginary. So 5 into 6 minus 6 into 5. So 30 minus 30, 0. 0 plus, what is the imaginary? Cross. That is 25 plus 36. So 25 plus 36 is 61. Right? So it will be 0 plus 61j. Getting, no? Clear? The rule is, I told you, 5 plus 6j into 6 plus 5j. So what will be your new real? 5 into 6, 30, minus 6 into 5, 30. So 30 minus 30. That is done. Plus, what is your new imaginary? Cross. 5 into 5 and 6 into 6. So 25 plus 36. J. So that will come out to be 61J. Getting? You got it. And already I told you, whenever you create a complex number, internally it's a complex object, and that object is having two data members. One is real and one is imaginary. And 5 will get stored in real and 6 will get stored in imaginary. So the inbuilt attribute real is used to retrieve the real part, and imag is used to retrieve the imaginary part. You can access it using dot operator. With this it is proved that it is a data member of that object. Getting? So C dot real, C dot imaginary. Okay? I hope it is clear. Isn't it, all of you? Sure, no? Okay. Many absent today. Then, coming to next thing. Next data type, that is Boolean. Okay. Now what is Boolean data type? So Boolean is to represent truth values or falsity check. Wherever you want to check the falsity or you want to check the truthfulness, then Boolean come into picture. So for Boolean, only two legal values are there. One is true and another is false. T is capital, F is capital. True and false. But internally Python treats true as 1 and false as 0. False is treated as 0 and true is treated as 1. Okay? And therefore Python doesn't give any error if you perform any arithmetic operations on Boolean. Like you're multiplying two Boolean, you're adding two Booleans. Okay? Even you're comparing two Booleans, like false less than true. Getting? Which looks little funny because normally Boolean, when comes into our brain, so we only think that it is true and false, and we check it only where the truthfulness is to be checked, like conditions, right? But Python doesn't give any error if you do arithmetic operations on Boolean. Okay? or you compare. Like strict type languages, best example is Java. In Java, if you try to do all such thing, adding two booleans, multiplying two booleans, it is error. It will give directly a error. It will not allow. Okay, but here it is allowed, right? So this data type represents boolean values. Boolean values are only two, true and false. So only allowed value for this data type, literal true and literal false. Implicitly, their internal representation is 1 and 0. Internally, the value of true is 1 and value of false is 0. And that's the reason Python allows you to do operations like this also. See, if I write true plus true is not wrong. True is 1 internally. So 1 plus 1, it will be 2. It gives answer 2. Even you can subtract also, true minus false. It gives answer 1. Getting or no? Clear? So it is allowed. It is legal to do this thing. Even you can do comparison also, like true greater than false. It's not wrong. Internally it will take this as 1, this as 0, and 1 is greater than 0. Therefore the answer is true. Why? Because true is greater than false. But this looks totally weird in Java like language, because Java is very strict. So it will never allow you to do such operation like true greater than false or true minus false. Java will never allow you to do arithmetic operations on boolean. Getting or no? Clear? Here it is legal. And suppose you are creating a variable in which you are assigning such boolean value and you are printing it. It will print its boolean value and you are checking its type. It will tell that it's an object of class bool. Class bool. So ultimately this is also again an object of its respective class. Getting? Now many might be having confusion how the objects are created. Like, because maximum people, those who are from Java background, they might be having the principle that object is created through new only, no? New, class name, round bracket. No such rule. Your objects implicitly get created. X will be your object of bool class. Okay? Okay, but then you may say, like, if I have my own class, then how I create object? You just have to write class name round bracket. It creates the object. Okay, see, b equal to true. You're printing the type of b. Obviously it is a boolean value, so its data type is class bool. B equal to true, C equal to false, and I'm checking whether b is greater than c. Is legal because internally it is 1 and this is 0. So is 1 greater than 0? Yes. So d will contain true. Getting? Even such combinations are legal. See, I'm writing true plus true. So 1 plus 1, 2. 1 minus 0, 1. 0 minus 1, minus 1. 0 minus 0, 0 is 100% legal. Agreed? And then comes one more last data type, that is str. Okay? Now str represents what? So it is representing string. Okay, I didn't ask you till here, everything is clear. Any question in boolean and in complex?
No, sir.
Sure. Others also. Others, please keep interacting. Sure, no? Okay. Then I'll move ahead. If you have any queries, please keep asking. Coming to the next one, that is str. This data type we'll discuss. Now, str represents a string. And now what is string? So string is any sequence of characters. Okay? So in that sequence, there can be escape sequences also, Unicodes also, anything can be there. So string is any sequence of characters. Means that characters can be your uppercase character, lowercase, then white spaces, then special symbols, then Unicodes, escape sequences, anything can come. So any sequence of characters enclosed in pair of single quote or double quote. So we'll call it as enclosed in a pair of quotes, that is single or double. Anything will do. Both are string only. Means according to Python, both are string object. You write single quote hello world or you write double quote hello world. Okay? Single quote hello world or double quote hello world. Anything you write, both are strings only according to Python. Okay, so any sequence of characters enclosed in a pair of quote, single quote or double quote, it is treated as string object. Getting? But this come under sequence object also. It is also called as a sequence object because you can traverse it one by one using a for loop. Like if you want to traverse these characters, like I want to retrieve these all characters one by one, you can. There is a provision given. Okay, to be learned in the appropriate topics, don't worry. Okay, so you can traverse this whole string character by character. Therefore, it comes under sequence object category, right? And this strings you cannot extend to more than one line. It is only up to one line. If you want to extend to more than one line, then there is a multi-line string, you know it, called as the documentation string, doc string, where 3 quote, okay, and then any amount of lines complete with 3 quote. So that 3 quotes are 3 single quote or 3 double quote. Anything will do. Getting on? It can be 3 single quote or 3 double quote. Right? This generally when we use when you want to extend the string to more than one line. Now whenever you are writing multi-line string, everything is preserved, remember. If there are spaces, there are escape sequences, everything is preserved as it is. Okay? So quickly just one example. Like I'm writing x equal to hello world. Now already you know you cannot extend to more than one line. If you're printing it, it will display the value. And suppose you're checking its type, it will tell that it's an object of class str. See, class str. Right? And if you want multi-line string, so I told you. Right? Anything you're writing. And see, in that if you're putting abundant of spaces or lot of blank lines or you're putting some tabs, okay? Or you have put some new line, everything is preserved. Okay? And see, you can check it. When you print that X, is it preserving the space? Yes. Then these all blank lines are also preserved. These 2 tabs, as their tabs, 2 times tabs have come. These 3 new lines are there. So 3 times blank line have come. And then the remaining value. You understanding or no? So everything what is there in that doc string as it is, it preserves it. Okay, it doesn't ignore anything. It keeps it as it is. Right? And now the question might be how to access these characters and all. So for that I have kept a separate topic in chapter 4, data structures. In that separately we are going to discuss about strings. Getting? And the methods of string. Abundant, more than 20-25 methods are there of string class. That will be learning, don't worry. Clear? So there are lot of built-in functions also and methods also. Like x equal to hello world I have written. So can I access the characters of it? Yes, you can. Just write the string object square bracket index. So it will give you the character at third index, 0, 1. It starts with 0. From left it starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will return that L. So I'm not talking about this now because we have to discuss this in that chapter, because there I have kept the topic, separate topic called string and string methods. Okay. There are some built-in functions also, like if I write len x, so it will return you the number of characters in x. Getting on? Or I write x dot upper, so it will return you the uppercase of x. X is not modified, new string is returned which is uppercase. X is still the same. Okay, So with this, one more point you should remember कि string is always a immutable class. ठीक है, string is a immutable. Immutable. This terminology is also those who are already working in OOP, they might be knowing. Either they are working in C# or they are working in Java. They should know this terminology. Immutable, mutable. If it's mutable, means it allows to make the change in the object. And if it is immutable, it doesn't modify itself. The object doesn't change itself. Rather, it returns a new copy. Getting? So string is same thing. String, once you create, you cannot modify that string. It will return a new string. Okay? So that we'll discuss it at the appropriate topic. Now just understand data type string. Okay? So this data type represents string values. And what are strings? I hope you know it. It's a sequence of characters, any sequence of characters enclosed with single quote or double quote. See, a string is a sequence of character that are enclosed within a single quote or double quote. A single character is also a string object only. Like in other language, normally when you write single quote and just single character, so it is treated as a character. So here it's not character, it is still a string only. Getting? So a single character can also be used for str data type. S equal to Ram I have written. S1 also Ram. One is written in double quote, one single quote. Doesn't matter. Both are string. And if you want multi-line string, then use triple quotes, triple single quote or triple double quote. Getting? See, here I have written 3 quotes, 3 quote. Everything is preserved. I am writing print S1. So first it will print Python, then space, then S2 is a community build for developers good. As it is on 2 line on monitor also, you'll see 2 lines only. See, first it displayed S1, that is Python, then space, and after that S2. So this line and this line is on the next line. Okay, so hope it is clear, right? So these are the 5 elementary types which Python has given. Okay, these are the basic types, 5 elementary types, but they are also objects only. Ultimately they are also object. So int, float, complex, boolean and str. Str to be discussed again in depth, breadth, length. Clear? We have to discuss it in the appropriate chapter. There lot how to access that string, then how to do different operations on that string, like searching, extracting the part, then reversing, converting to uppercase, lowercase. So many things are there. So I have kept a separate topic there in detail. Okay, before now I'll move to the next topic, that is typecasting. Okay, so now what is typecasting? So that we have to discuss, but before that just quick confirmation. Till here, any doubts, queries? Good evening, Aditya. Aditya joined late today.
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, others, like if you have any issues, please ask me, or if it is clear, no. Okay. This Aditya is saying no. Good. Gauri is also saying no. No problem. So I'll assume others also, like Dharmesh and Rohini and Sonali, Anjali, all of you. Just Gautam.
No, sir, no problem.
Clear? See, we have varied students. Gautam is attending sessions from Spain. See, one of your teammate, he's attending the session from Spain. Like, there are some, I guess Dharmesh is also attending from different place, right? No? Good. Let's continue now. Now next topic we'll move on to, that is typecasting. Now, what is typecasting? First of all, what do you mean by typecasting, and then types we'll discuss, and then we are going to concentrate only on one type over here. So typecasting means conversion of value from one type to another type. Okay, but it's not permanent, only for that operation purpose. Only for that operation purpose, we are changing it from one type to another. Once the operation is over, your variable is back again to the original type. Getting? Means it goes back again to whatever the original type was. Right? So typecasting means what in a simple term? Conversion of values from one type to another type for some operation purpose. Once that operation is over, your value is back again to the original type. Getting or no? Clear? This is casting. This term, many times you have heard this terminology, casting. Yes or no? You have heard this commonly in movies or serials. Whenever serials come or some play come, okay. So when the movie comes, we say like, yes, the casting of the movie is nice, or yes, their story is nice, but the casting was not good. So commonly we use that word, no? Right? The meaning is same. There also the concept is same, right? Why? Because that person, that entity, actor and actress, they have been converted to that role for that movie purpose, and when the movie is over, they are back again to the original thing. Like if we take entity Amitabh Bachchan, so Amitabh Bachchan, for one movie he may be casted to an father role, somewhere a police role, somewhere he is an lawyer, different, somewhere he is an hero. Okay, so different roles he is converted only for that movie, and when the movie is over, he is back again to the original Amitabh Bachchan entity. Same mechanism in programming. So value of one type is converted to some other type for that operation purpose, and once the operation is over, it's back again to the original. So that is typecasting. Now typecasting is actually of two types. One is called implicit casting and another is called explicit casting. Implicit casting means when the Python interpreter only does the casting as needed or as required. Okay, so whenever the casting is done by the interpreter itself, getting or no? Whenever the casting is done by the interpreter as needed or as required, then we'll call it as implicit casting. Getting? I'll tell you the situation. But when the interpreter is unable to do it, then obviously the programmer has to do it. Then that is called as a explicit casting. And for explicit casting, they have given some casting functions. And what are that casting functions? That only we have to discuss now. Getting? But implicit casting, I'll give you the situation. See, now you are writing A equal to B plus C. But B is an integer object and C is a float object. See, I've talked everything in terms of object. As it's a pure OOP, you have to talk in that terminology only. Okay, everything is a object of some class. So suppose B is an object of integer class and C is an object of float class. So according to Python grammar, Python has decided its own grammar rules. So according to the grammar, it is legal to do addition between integer and float. It is legal to do addition between integer and float. But for doing that addition, first it has to convert that integer to float. And then it will do addition between float and float. So now here you don't have to do anything. Interpreter implicitly converted integer to float. Then it has done addition of float and float. The result come as a float. Okay. And once the expression is complete and we come to the next statement, B is again back to which data type? Integer. Only for that addition purpose, interpreter converted B which was integer, it has converted to float. That is called as type coercion. Coercion means forcing someone to get converted from one type to another. Okay, so interpreter has forcibly converted into float. Then float plus float, addition done. The result is float, and that will come in A. Is it clear to you? Okay, I hope it is clear. So this is which type of casting? Implicit casting. Right? But now the situation is like this. Suppose you are writing one integer and one string, or vice versa, one string and one integer, whereas which is legal in some languages. Like if you do the same thing in Java, Java will convert this double quote 56 to double quote 56 automatic. Means Java will implicitly convert that 56 to string 56 and then do the concatenation, and it will return you 54556 as an answer, as a new string. In which language I am talking about? Java. So in Java it is legal to do plus operation between a string and an integer. But what is the rule of Java? It converts this integer to string and then concatenates that to string, and it returns you a new string. Same thing if you do in PHP, it is reverse. PHP does the opposite. Integer it keeps integer, string it converts to integer, and then do the addition, and it will give 90 and 11, 101. Getting? So 101 answer will come. But this is not the rule in Python, because according to Python grammar, it is not a legal operation between a string and an integer. Python says it is not legal to do addition between an integer and a string. This is string, this is integer. You cannot do addition because the grammar has decided. Means the language designer who designed the language, he designed the grammar rules also. So according to him, this is not valid. Getting? But still I want the operation to take place. Then you do explicit conversion. So now if you want 101 as answer, convert string to integer explicitly. And if you want concatenation, then convert integer to string. Getting? So now integer converted to string. Now string and string can be concatenated in in Python. String and string concatenation is allowed, but string integer string not allowed. You understanding or no? So if you want concatenation, convert into string. If you want addition to take place, then convert string to integer. But who is supposed to do it? Is the Python interpreter doing it on its own, or we are doing it explicitly by using this conversion functions? So we are doing, therefore it is to be called as, V means ultimately conversion is to be done by interpreter only, we are informing it. Ultimately, who is going to do that activity? Interpreter only. But we are telling to the interpreter that please convert string to integer. You're getting or no? Clear? So I hope implicit, explicit conversion clarity is there. We have to just focus on explicit, and then there are 5 conversion functions that we will quickly learn one by one. Okay? See. So typecasting is conversion of one data type to another. Getting? But not permanent, only for that operation purpose. Once the operation is done, it is back again to the original type. Okay? There. Now here on the slide, I have not clarified between implicit, explicit. I told you, a lot of things I talk, everything I cannot write on the slide. Because if I write everything on the slide, this will be as good as like a book. Getting or no? Clear? So there is a difference between PPT presentation and the actual book. When you read book, lot of detailed things are there, right? So that is important. Attending the session is important, because in the session lot of things are told. Only reading slide won't be sufficient. Okay. So we use following 5 built-in functions for typecasting, which Python has provided. One is int, float, complex, boolean, and str. Actually, we are calling them as a casting function. In reality, they are constructors of that class. if you match it with the corresponding OOP principle, if you take the object oriented principle, so it is actually a constructor of int class, constructor of float class, constructor of complex class. So we are not going into that technicality. For simplicity, we are calling these 5 are casting functions. So 5 inbuilt functions for doing the conversion. Now we will discuss all these conversions one by one. First conversion we'll talk about, that is int. So converting any value to int. So which conversion is valid and which is invalid, that we'll discuss. Okay? Quickly on the slide, pictorially I'll tell you. See now, you are trying to convert some value to integer. Okay? So that value which you are giving, it can be a float, legal. If you convert float to integer, it is 100% legal. Only the value after dot is lost. After dot, whatever value is there is lost. Precision is lost. Next, you can convert boolean to integer, legal. Only the thing is, true will be 1 and false will be 0. Okay? Then about complex, if you are trying to convert complex number to integer, is not allowed. Okay? Language doesn't allow you to convert a complex number to integer. And then the last is string. Okay? String is allowed. You can convert string to integer, but inside that string there has to be a legal number. You understanding or no? See here, when you are trying to convert a complex to integer, it will directly throw a type error. Type error is a type of exception in Python, as we have exceptions in Java. Those who are from Java background, they sure know it. In Java, for every problem there is a corresponding exception, and that exception is raised. Exact same like in Python. For every problem there is an exception. This is the exception class name. This is a class in Python. Type error. But why type error has occurred? Because that type is only not legal for converting to integer. To convert complex to integer is not allowed only. Therefore type error. String to integer is allowed, but within that string there has to be a legal numeric value. Getting? So suppose in double quote there is 45. So it's a legal numeric value. So it will convert it to integer 45. But you are giving double quote RAM, okay, to integer. If you are giving double quote RAM to integer, it will generate a value error. Now it doesn't give a type error. Please clarify. Okay, please make it clear that type error is not coming, value error. Value error is also a class in Python. It is also one type of exception. Okay, so value error is occurred, not type error. Why like this? I hope you are clear. Why not type error? Because string is a legal type to convert in integer. Only the thing is, within that string there has to be a proper numeric value, base 10 value. If there is no base 10 value, it will generate a value error. Here, why not value error? Why type error? Because the type only is not legal. No? You cannot convert a complex to integer. Okay, so just quickly I'll give some examples of conversion. See, I'm converting 4.5 to integer. So 0.5 is lost, you'll get 4. Okay, I'm converting a boolean to integer. As it is true, it will give you 1. If I'm converting false to integer, it will give 0. Then, if you are trying to convert a complex number to integer, it will give directly a type error. Type error is thrown. See, type error. Can't convert complex to integer. Getting? And I am trying to convert a string to integer. Now, this is a legal string because it contains a proper base 10 number. So, it will convert to integer 45. But if I am trying to convert string RAM to integer, obviously it will give an error because It is not containing base 10 value. But this is not a type error. This is a value error. Getting? See. Value error, invalid literal for int with base 10 RAM. Means it is telling that ki RAM is not a valid base 10 number, and therefore it is generating a error. Agreed? I hope you are clear with it. Conversions. Okay, so quickly we'll just move on to the slides part. See, we use this function to convert any type into integer type, any other data type to int data type. Now, rules are there. We cannot convert complex to integer. Complex number to integer, it is illegal. Such conversion is not supported. Getting? Means Python is having combinations of conversion, but some combinations are not allowed. Like in PHP, anything can be converted to anything. That is the very weird thing. There you can convert a array to object, object to array, boolean to object, array to boolean. Any combination is possible. That is the reason they have highest orthogonality. But more the orthogonality, the language confusion more to the learner, right? The learner is going to face more confusion. Getting? So we cannot convert complex data type to integer. It becomes an error. And if you're converting a string to integer is allowed, but the string should contain a valid numeric value. Getting or no? See, the string should only contain integral value within quote, right? But if it is containing some non-numeric value, then it will generate a value error. Okay, see here, just for quick reference, instead of remembering so much theory, this thing is quite easy to note down in the book, and just later whenever you are going to appear for Python interview and all, and just you are doing brush up. So if you quickly go through this diagram, you come to know that string to integer is legal, float to integer is legal, boolean to integer is legal, but complex to integer is not legal. And string to integer is legal, but that string should contain a valid numeric value. Otherwise, value error. And here it is a type error. Both are different. Okay? See, quick example, 12.35 to integer. 0.35 is lost. Double quote 123. Convert to integer. It's a legal integer. True is boolean to 1. But here see, you are trying to convert 2 plus 4j, that is complex, not allowed. And you are trying to convert a string Python to integer, not allowed. It gives a value error. Both are different. Okay? Right? Yes or no, all of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you show previous slide?
This one only. No?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then let's quickly move on. Lot things to learn. Getting? Many things are there in the pipe. Okay. So we'll move on to the next thing. Next is float conversion. But conversion of float is exactly same like integer. It's the same principle it follows. Getting? Like here, if it is instead of int, if it is float. Correct? So you can now only instead of float, here there will be integer. So the rule is same. You can convert a int to float. Integer to float is allowed. Only it will put a decimal. Like if you have 35 and you convert to integer, it will become 35.0. Right? Internal storages are different actually. Floats are stored in different way. Integers are stored in different way. So int to float puts a decimal. Boolean to float is also valid. If it is true, it will become 1.0. If it's false, it will become 0.0. Complex to float is not allowed only. Direct type error. String to float is valid. String to float is legal, but inside that string there has to be a proper numeric value. If it contains non-numeric value, it generates a value error. So same principle of int which is there is same followed for float. Getting? Quick examples I'll give you, like print float of 10 I am writing, so it will return 10.0. Okay? Float of true I am writing, so it will return 1.0, because true is 1, so after converting to float it becomes 1 point. Float of 4 plus 5j. Okay? Float of 4 plus 5j. Error. Type error. Because it is not legal only to convert a complex to float. And conversion of string to float is legal. Like string 4.5. So it will give float 4.5. Get it? But string RAM you are converting to float, it will not give, it is not valid, but it will not give type error, it will give you a value error. Cannot convert string to float. Getting? Because it is not containing a legal floating value. You're getting? No? Similar concept are there in other languages. Like in Java, if you're trying to do this thing, you're trying to convert a string to float and this string contains RAM, it will throw number format exception. Here it throws value error. Here this exception names they have kept shorter. Java so lengthy names like array, index, out of, bounds, exception. So big class names. Here there are very simple, short and sweet class names. Getting? So I hope you got it. So you can convert int to float, boolean to float, complex to float not allowed, string to float allowed, but string contains non-numeric, it raises a value error. Okay? Quickly we'll go through the slide. So we use this function for converting other types into float type. Any other data type to float. The rule is we cannot convert complex to float as like integer. Then string also can be converted to float, but the string should contain floating point value. So the string should be in decimal form and contain only integral or floating value. Okay, then again this quick for you people. String to float is legal, integer to float is legal, boolean to float is legal, but complex to float is not legal. Getting clear? See, conversion of 12 to float, 12.0. True to float, true is 1, so 1.0. Double quote 123.5, so it will return 123.5. Double quote 10, so 10.0. Double quote 10, word 10, which is not a valid numeric value, value error. And complex number to float, type error. Okay? Hope it is clear. Sure, no guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sure,
sir.
no? So please keep responding. Okay? As I said, no, it's a different mode of conducting classes when it is an offline classroom session. So I
Hello, sir.
see you people. Okay? Huh? Yes,
Uh,
ask.
Sir, just a question. Can we typecast entire column of the table? If we have table and we have to change the type of the column, so can we do it?
No, actually, what type that column is, that depends. Like, if you have that table column, so it will get fetched in which form? So it is going to come in a list form or something.
Okay.
Yes or no? Like if you are doing database connectivity, first of all, you have to use that database library. Then you'll send your query, you'll get the result, you'll fetch the result. But the result which you are fetching, okay, so in which form that result is coming? So actually that result come in a list form or something. Getting? It will
Okay.
come in a list form. So that list, entire list you cannot convert to an integer. No?
But sir,
List.
if we have a CSV file or anything,
So that
So
is
can
also, but that CSV file when you will fetch it by using some pandas library and all, isn't it?
yes,
So that will return you as a frame, data frame or something.
yes, sir.
Getting? But that data frame conversions they have, no, like already.
Yeah, so we couldn't do it
No,
manually.
like no individual values you can do it. Like complete list you cannot convert. That
But
complete
sir, what if
list,
we have like 3,000, 4,000 entries in a table? Then
but that's what I'm saying. That Pandas library has already given their conversion functions.
okay,
Means this is the basic data types which Python has provided. No? Like when you are saying out that CSV file, so you'll fetch it and then you'll put it in a data frame, and that data frame internally stores it in a NumPy form. Getting? So NumPy is already having that library. They have their already conversion functions. Getting?
okay, sir.
So this casting is for the basic types which I am telling. The basic 5 types you are giving, right? But if you have
Yes.
that entire column and you want it in some other form, so use some conversion functions given by that Pandas library only. That library has given their conversion function. You don't have to do it manually by this way. Getting? Means
Okay, sir.
there is a provision, right?
Yes.
These are all the conversions of elementary values. Elementary values means you're understanding. No?
Yes,
They are
sir.
not a group value. Okay.
Yeah.
Then coming to complex. Okay. Now complex, what the conversion rule is. Now complex function can be used first of all in this 2 different ways. Okay. One you can write like this, complex x. Okay, and another is complex x comma y. Both way you can do it. Actually it is not overloading, because Python never allows overloading. Actually here y is default. Y is having a default value. Okay, so both way you can use it, but if you are using like this complex x, so x becomes the real part and the imaginary part is 0. So it will convert it to complex number like this, x plus 0j. And if you are using this notation, complex x comma y, so it will convert it to this way, x plus yj. Means your y will become a real and imaginary, and x will become the real value. Okay? But now what all possibilities are there for x? So x can be an integer, it can be a float, it can be a boolean. Okay, but if it is a string, then it can be only single value string. Means if you are using a string, and moreover that string should contain a numeric value. But if to a complex you are passing string, then you cannot pass the second argument. It doesn't allow you only. String can be only single. That is the conditions they have enforced. Getting? Okay, so x, if you are using, so that is only the real part, the imaginary part is not there. X comma y, if you are using, then x is the real part and y is the imaginary part. Okay, quickly here I will tell you. Like complex phi I am having. Okay, so it will just convert to 5 plus 0j. You are converting an integer to complex. You can give both integers, right? 7 comma 2. So 7 plus 2j. Okay, complex, and one is a float, or just float value, no problem. 5.5. So 5.5 plus 0j. Get it? One integer, one float, one integer, doesn't matter. Any combinations allowed, right? See, 5.5 and 6. So 5.5 plus 6g is allowed. Okay. Now what I want to tell you is, in this combination, boolean also can be involved. Like I am writing true comma 6. So 1 plus 6j it will take. Or I am writing true, and or here I am writing false and writing 6.2. Doesn't make 0 plus 6.2j. Getting? So combination of integer, float and boolean is allowed. Any combinations you can do. A boolean, a integer or a float. They are all that 3 things can be used in any combination. Doesn't make difference. But if you are using a string, then it is only one argument allowed. See, it is 45 plus 0j. But in this case, if you try to give any other value, not allowed. See, can't take second argument if first is a string. And now some may say, like, if I give second as string and first at integer, will it do? No. It says that once any one argument is a string, you cannot use it. See, second argument can't be a string. So that is the restriction they have kept. Ki complex, when you convert a string to complex, it is only single value. But boolean, float and integer, any combination allowed. Both boolean, one integer, or both integer, one float, no problem. Between that three, any combination is legal. Get it? So just remember that combinations. So this function is used to convert other types into complex data type. Getting any other data type to complex data type. Then we can use it in two ways. As I said, write complex x. If I write complex x, x will be the real part, imaginary 0j. See, in this case the complex type is created, but with 0 imaginary part. And if I write complex x comma y, then x is the real part and y is the imaginary part. Okay? And the rules I said, you can convert a string to complex, an integer to complex, a boolean to complex, a float to complex. Everything can be converted. Only the rule is, if it is string, then you can use only this first notation, not the second. That restrictions you should remember. If it is string, then this first notation is only allowed, not second. Okay? And for this three, any combination is allowed. Means it can be a complete graph, you can say. Ultimately, I come in mathematics only. Why? Because that is the most favorite other than programming. Okay? So this is integer. This is float. This is boolean. Getting? So you can draw a complete graph between it. Graph, I hope these are vertices, these are edges, and you can see this is a complete graph. Complete graph means you're understanding, no? There is an edge between every one. This edge also exists. This edge also exists. Getting? All combinations allowed. Int and float, int and boolean. Float and float, float int, float boolean. Okay? And in between string, only single argument allowed. Okay? So the rules are clear. Just simple example, complex 10 I am writing. So 10 plus 0j, 10.5 plus 0j, 1 plus 0j, because boolean true. Double quote 108, so 108 plus 0j. Both are integer, so 10 minus 5j. Both boolean, but one is true, false, so 1 plus 0j. Getting? See. Note, in case of string, it should be the integral value within quote. If it's a string, then inside string there has to be what? An integer. No, so here also there will be a value error. It will generate a value error. And now that point I have not shown on the slide, that if you are using a string, then you have to use this first pattern only. The second one cannot be used. Getting? Okay. So hope till here it is also clear to you. Right? All of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then moving on to the next thing. Next conversion, that is boolean. Okay? So you can convert any data type to boolean. Now for boolean there are no restrictions. You can convert any data type to boolean. Only the rule is when it is true and when it is false. Okay? So that I'll tell you. The rules are like that. If you are using integer, okay, so 0 is treated as false and all other integers are treated as true. In case of integer I am talking about, means you are converting an integer to boolean, but that int value, if it is 0 it is false and all other integers are true. Same is the case for float. Okay, when both before decimal, after decimal, both are 0, that is 0.0 is false. All other values are true. Means 0.25 is also true. 5.0 is also true. Means both should be 0. So false. All other true. Getting? Then in case of string, empty string means you're understanding, no? String with length 0, also called as a null string or empty string which length is 0. Getting or no? Single quote or double quote. Nothing is there in that string. It's an empty string, 0 length string. False. All other strings are true. And last, complex, if the real and the imaginary both are 0, 0 plus 0j, both means the real is not 0, or real 0 but this is not 0, or imaginary is not 0 but real is, so not allowed. Both 0, then it is false, and all other complex numbers are true. That's simple the rule is. In some languages the string containing 0 is also false. There are languages in which string containing 0 is also false. Here not. Here if the string is containing 0, so it is not an empty string, no? It is a string with length 1. Therefore it is treated as true only. Clear? So I hope the rule is clear. Just quickly we'll come to it. Print boolean of 45. So it is true, but boolean of 0 is false. See, boolean of 0.0 is false, but boolean of 0 point something is true. Getting? This was about float, integer, then complex number 4 plus 5j. True. Getting? But when both the real part and the imaginary part both are 0, it is false. Okay? And then boolean of a string, see, if it's an empty string, see carefully, empty string, it's false. But if the string contains something, it is true. Even 0 is true. Even space is true. Getting? Because it's not an empty string. So these are the rules, like, right? I hope you are understanding. Okay? So conversion rules are clear. Let's move on to the next thing. See. So this is used to convert other data types into Boolean type. Any other data type to Boolean. Then points to remember. If your x is integer, 0, it is false. And all other values other than 0 are true. Clear? Then if x is float and if it is 0, the total is 0, meaning the value before decimal and the value after decimal both are 0, then false, otherwise true. If it is complex, then the real part and the imaginary part both are 0, then false, otherwise true. And string, if it is empty, it is false, all other situation it is true. Clear? Okay. But first of all, just see to it that you can convert all the other values to Boolean. Some languages are too strict. The best example is Java. Java is a strict type language. It's a static type plus strict type. It's not a loosely typed language like Python and PHP and all. Those are all scripting languages. They all are loosely typed category. Java is very strict. First of all, in Java, no one can be converted to Boolean, and Boolean cannot be converted to anyone. That's strict. Clear? Boolean says like we don't do any interaction between the other type. Clear? They say Booleans cannot be converted to anything, anything cannot be converted to Boolean. Here it is possible. Okay? See. So again the sequence I have given: string to Boolean is allowed, integer to Boolean allowed, float to Boolean allowed, complex to Boolean allowed. Okay? Bull of 0, 0 is false. Bull of 5, it's other than 0, therefore true. 0.2, so are both total 0? No, therefore it is true. 0.0 is false. 0 plus 5j is true, because I told you now, unless and until both real and imaginary are true, you won't get true. Getting? And 0 plus 0j, right? 0 plus 0j is false, because both are 0. And if it's an empty string, it is false. But if the string contains something, it is true. Okay? So I hope it is clear. And then coming to the last conversion, that is str. Okay?
Hello, sir.
Okay? Now converting anything to string is very simple. Here there are no restrictions. It says whatever value you give, I'll return it as a quoted value. Quote means it will just put quote on both the side and it gets converted into string. Okay, so if you are giving a numeric value, the number is converted to string. Like if you are giving number 10, it will be converted to double quote 10, string 10. If you are giving floating point value, it will be converted to float. If you are giving complex value, it will be converted again to string, like this, 4 plus 5j. So whatever the 4 plus 5j, whatever the value is, it is returned in quoted form. Getting? And if it is boolean, so that boolean representation in string form, like this. Okay, so any value can be converted to string. Very simple rule. So we use this to convert other data types into string data type. Okay, the rule is whatever you pass, it is returned in quoted form. So whatever argument is passed, it just quotes it and makes a string. That simple rule it is. Okay, so int to string, float to string, boolean to string, complex to string, all combinations allowed. No restrictions also, means there are no conditions, whereas in some case there are conditions, like, right? See, str of 10, it returns it as string 10. str of true, it returns it as string true. 8 plus 9j, it returns it as a string complex number. Okay, if you want, I'll give you some demonstration. See, if I'm writing string 10, sorry, str of integer 10, it returns it as string. 4.5 to str. Okay, you are returning true to str, it converts it to string. 4 plus 5j converts it to string. So everything just it returns it in a string form. Agreed? Okay? So these were all about casting functions. So hope these 5 casting functions were clear to you. Conversion of anything to integer, conversion of anything to float, conversion of anything to complex, anything to boolean, and anything to str. Right? So that now we can move to operators. Once the operators are clear, then some simple 1 or 2 exercises I'll make. We will solve, then some exercises I'll give you people to solve. Then we can move on to chapter 2. Okay? Okay? So let's proceed with operators. Yes or no, all of you? Just quick confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now first we'll talk about what is operator, right? And then some associated terms like precedence, associativity, then what are operands, all that. And then one by one we'll start discussing each type of operators which Python has provided. Okay, so what is an operator? You can say it is a special symbol. Okay, can we say it is a special symbol right? It's a special symbol which performs operation on operands and then return single value as result. Operator has to return a result. That is rule. It has to return the result. Okay. So what is an operator? It's a special symbol which performs specific task on operands and return single value as result. Single value only. There are no operators which return more than one value, or there are no operators which don't return only value. It is impossible. Every operator will return single value as result, and every operator is being designated with some specific task. Every operator is being assigned with the specific task, and it has to do that specific task, and then after doing that task it has to return the single value as a result. Getting? But now on whom it is doing that task, they are called as operands. Okay, so first of all, what is operator is clear to you. Okay, it's a symbol which does some specific task on the operand and give you single value as result. Okay, now what are operands? The operands are your program elements, right? Program elements on which operation is performed. I hope you are understanding. Clear? So on whom the operation is performed, they are operands, right? And very simple elementary operands are, example, your literals, variables. Can we say they are the operands? Yes. Literals will represent themselves because they are the constant value. So as they are constant value, they will represent themselves. Variables will represent the value stored in it, right? Like suppose I am writing 4 plus y. Okay, so here 4 and y are operands because those are the program elements on which the operation is going to take place. The operation is going to take place on 4 and y. So these are the two participants for doing that operation. Means this operation is to be done on this two. Getting or no? So 4 and y are operands and plus is operator because it is telling what operation is going to take place. So plus is that special symbol which does its specific task on these two operands and then it's going to return you some result. Clear? So the basic is clear to you. 4 and y. So now 4 is a literal, so it represents itself. Y is a variable, so it represents value stored in it. What is stored in it, it will represent that value. Getting? And on that value the addition takes place and it returns you a single value as a result. Agreed? Then coming to the types of operators, means depending on how many operands the operator is going to operate, on how many operands the operator is going to operate, based on that we classify them as unary. Unary means it's going to work on one operand, and second we have binary which works on two operand. Getting? So when the operator is going to operate on two operands, it's a binary. When it will operate on one operand, it is unary. Getting or no? Clear? I hope you are clear with it. There is no concept as ternary, as we have ternary operator in C, C++, Java. Sure, no? I hope you know it. Question mark, colon and all. The question mark, colon. These are the operators which are ternary. Python doesn't support such operator. Python says you can achieve that using a simple if-else statement. So using a if-else statement, you can do that ternary operation. Therefore, they have not provided a special ternary operator. Agreed? And their notations you have to remember. Unary are always used in prefix notation. Okay, prefix notation means operator is before the operand. There is no postfix notation. Some languages have that. Best example Java, like increment decrement operator they have, no? So you can write I plus plus also and plus plus I also. Such concept is not there. My Python says no concept of this post operation. Everything is pre only. Getting? And in Python basically increment operator only is not there. That increment and decrement operator is not there. You do it by minus and plus sign only. Okay? So all unary operator in Python are strictly in which notation only? Prefix. And binary are in infix notation. Getting? Infix notation means operand 1, operator, operand 2. Means the operator is between the operand. Between two operands, the operator is there. Getting or no? Clear? So that becomes binary notation. Agreed? I hope you got it. Now quickly, just one or two more terminologies. That is, next is precedence. Precedence of the operator. So every operator will have its own precedence. Precedence decides what? Its priority. The operator's priority. It decides the sequence of operation. Who is going to get evaluated first? After that, the next who is going to get evaluated. Means it decides the order of evaluation. Getting? So precedence means order. Precedence, or you can call it as priority. It decides what? Order of evaluation. In any expression, like I have written A plus B into C. So now you know that there are two separate operators, one is plus and another is star. So grammar wise, means whenever they designed the language, they have decided the precedences also. So star is having first precedence and plus is having second precedence. So obviously who will be evaluated first? Star. B into C. Evaluate. Result come. Then A plus that result, because plus is having the next precedence. Okay. And then comes associativity also. Okay. Now associativity comes into picture when we consider this term. So associativity come into picture when all the operators have same precedence. So within an expression, if the operator is having same precedence, okay, then associativity come. Associativity means the direction of evaluation. That is whether left to right or right to left. Getting? Python doesn't have any operator which doesn't have associativity. There are languages, like in Java or in C or in C++, there are some operators which don't have associativity only. Means they don't have associativity. Getting or no? Here it's not like that. Here either it is left to right or right to left. There is no such operator in Python which doesn't have associativity only. You understanding? Clear? So if I'm writing A plus B minus C, so you know that according to the rule, plus and minus have same precedence. And as they have same precedence, okay, as they are having same precedence, what is to be considered? The direction of evaluation. So now in this case it is left to right, therefore this will be done first and then second. But if you are doing this thing, multiple assignment, A equal to B equal to C equal to 10. So in this case it is right to left. 10 is stored in C, C is stored in B, B is stored in A, that way. Means actually the reference only is stored. Means there are 3 references referring to object 10. But whatever. It takes place from right to left. Whereas here it is left to right. You understanding? This is first operation. This is second operation. This is third operation. Clear? Okay. Hope it is clear to you. And then quickly last point. That is when you want to override the standard rule, standard precedence rule, then use brackets. Round bracket. Okay. See. Like I am writing A plus B into C. I want addition to take place first. By rule, star will take place. But I want to do addition first, so obviously I'll put it in bracket. So if I put in bracket, first bracket is evaluated a plus b and then multiply with c. ठीक है? So hope it is clear. First remember, in Python all unary are in pre-notation only, because in some languages unary are in post notation, pre-notation both. Get it? And binary are in infix notation. Infix why? Because the operator is between the operand. Prefix why? Because the operator is before the operand. Okay? Priority, associativity, bracket, when to use, everything is clear, I guess. Quickly we'll see this to wind up with today's session. See, operators are special symbol in Python. They carry out some specific task. Then the value that the operator operates on is called operand. Okay, then here I have written 2 plus 3. So 2 and 3 is considered as operand and plus is considered as a operator. Get it? Then the operands can be, at a very elementary level, operands can be literals, operands can be variables. If they are variable, they'll represent the value stored in it. If they are literals, they'll represent themselves. Okay? Then if they are working on one operand, we call unary. If they are working on two operand, we call them as binary. Every operator will have its precedence, that is priority. Then if they have same precedence in an expression, associativity come into picture. To override standard precedence, use bracket. Okay? And quickly I'll just give you the list of operators which Python is providing, and then in the next session we have to start discussing all these operators one by one. Okay? So first is arithmetic operator, assignment operator, comparison operator, logical operator, identity operator, membership operator, and last bitwise operator. Getting? And all these operators in the coming session we will be discussing, okay, one by one. And once this is over, then our first chapter will be over. Okay? So any queries, doubt,